And the other thing, of course, I guess you're referring to Andrade and Sammy. What's his name? Guevara.
Sammy Guevara, yes, sir.
Uh, well, I'm family in that deal. I've only met Guevara one time or twice. He's very nice to me.
Yeah.
Pretty much how I judge people, but I don't think you want to be locked in a room with Manny. I have visited Manny's home. I knew where he grew up. I knew how he grew up, and Manny is you know Sin Cara?
Yeah.
Yeah, Manny is Sin Cara tough. It's like Sin Cara's beat up half the guys in the business. He has. I know you've heard the stories, but no, Manny's a very tough kid. He grew up. He's not a kid. He's a very tough man. And nowadays, as I've said before, I think that they feel pretty comfortable. Some of the guys saying things because they know the fight's never going to get anywhere. And it gets broken up. There's 1,000 people involved, and ultimately nobody ever gets their ass whipped. But I feel pretty comfortable in saying that that wouldn't be much of a fight. But that's nothing against Sammy as a wrestler. I just think Manny's a real tough guy.
Well,
And
there's a
there's
lot
not a lot
of
of tough guys.
speculation out
Not a
there.
lot of tough. There are not a lot of tough guys in the business anymore.
A lot of speculation out there. A lot of, from my perspective, inaccurate reports. I'll be interested to see how all this shakes out. Because I think you and I both think a lot of Tony Khan and AEW, and obviously Andrade is pretty close to us. And man, it's just a shame that you see negative headlines like this. It feels like it's one hit after another lately for AEW, and I hate that because they've done a lot of really great stuff. I mean, they just had $1 million house for a regular TV show, and they're doing well on pay-per-view, and it seems like the merch is flying off the shelves, and they got this video game everybody's excited about. There's a lot of positive headlines, but it does feel like, there's some stuff popping up here or there that you think, man, wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you just all it's never going to be perfect. Tony's got his hands full. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know the thought process behind. I don't know the thought process prospect behind his decisions, but they have enjoyed a lot of success lately. I mean, Sophia, of course, my stepdaughter works for him, and she's having a great time, and she thinks things are rolling smoothly. So she does a lot of their social media, so she's pretty much on top of what's going on there, and she sees a lot of smiling faces. So hopefully everything works out.
Well, we're pulling for them, and we're pulling for a fun episode today. Let's jump right into it. We threw you guys the keys to the show and said, "Hey, what do you want to talk about?" You can ask Ric Flair anything you want. Matthew Prong wants to know, who was your personal favorite NWA champion?
Harley Race.
I kind of had a feeling you would say that.
Yep.
You- Did you get to see any of his stuff when you were quote unquote just a fan, or did your appreciation and respect grow once you were a coworker?
No, I saw him when I was just a fan. I loved him. You just knew Harley was tough.
Yeah.
He was originally, when I first saw him, he was Larry Henning's partner
Mm.
in an AWA.
Yeah, I'm
But
back.
as a kid, I remember reading in the paper that Harley got stabbed at a place called the Chestnut Tree in Minneapolis, which was in an unsavory neighborhood. But after I got the new Harley, he loved to be in areas. He was never uncomfortable.
I love that. That's a great line. Never
It,
uncomfortable.
it's the truth. I swear to God, he'd go, especially when he was a champion, he would go out of his way to irritate somebody that he didn't like. Just push him and push him and push him. So they, they either left or they got beat up.
You've told us before years ago on the original Woo Nation podcast.
Mhm,
And once upon a time, boy, the Steiner brothers, they love to have their fun backstage.
mhm.
And they would, for lack of a better word, terrorize some guys. And it was all hazing or ribbing or whatever you want to call it. And they would give Butch Reed a hard time, but not Ron Simmons. And you famously told us on the show once, you asked Ron Simmons, "Hey, man, what? Steiners are always fucking with Butch Reed and all these other guys. Why don't they ever fuck with you?" And you said Ron looked right at you and said, "Rick, I'm unfuckwithable."
Unfuckable. Yeah. Ron Simmons is a real tough kid.
I
Tough
just
kid.
love that. It made me laugh
He's a
out
tough
loud.
man.
Harley Race sounds like a cut from the same cloth. Unfuckwithable.
Yeah, I'm not gonna compare it. You know, it's funny. The tough guys of that era, I would say the 2 toughest were are Kevin Nash and Ron Simmons.
Okay.
But I'm not putting them in the same league, and they won't mind this. They won't be offended at all. I'm not putting them in the class of a Harley Race or a Haku because with them, you know, you're gonna lose a body part.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
You're gonna lose a finger, you're gonna lose an eye, you're gonna get your ear bit off with Harley or Haku. Kevin just plain tough, never took any shit from anybody, and Ron's the same way. Nobody fucked with Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash, Mike Hegstrand, uh, what um, Ron, yeah, all legit tough guys
Phew.
of that era. You know, I'm not going back to the Dick Slaters and all that, but there's 2 guys that clearly stand out. Maybe the third being Jack Mulligan, um, but 2 for sure that if win, lose, or draw, you're going to lose a body part. And I wouldn't, you know, that doesn't take anything away from Kevin and Ron and them. I don't think that they'd be prepared to lose a body part, but they sure shit don't take. They sure as hell don't take any shit from anybody.
Lose a body part's a big statement. That's a big statement.
Oh, you get a finger bit off. I mean, I've seen so much in my career, you know, guys go into a fight, you don't know it's not taekwondo, man. You know,
Right.
especially in a bar. I've seen guys get hit in the head with beer bottles. I mean, people that could really have gotten hurt. Seeing guys get stabbed. It isn't fun. The fan used to really get out of control.
Part's a big statement. That's a big statement.
Oh, you get a finger bit off. I mean, I've seen so much in my career, you know, guys go into a fight, you don't know it's not taekwondo, man. You know,
Right.
especially in a bar. I've seen guys get hit in the head with beer bottles. I mean, people that could really have gotten hurt. Seeing guys get stabbed. It isn't fun. The fan used to really get out of control. Hit in the head with beer bottles. I mean, people that could really have gotten hurt. Seeing guys get stabbed. It isn't fun. The fan used to really get out of control.
But before we get into it, you said you've been keeping up with all the controversy. There's a lot going on in wrestling these days. It looks like,
Yeah.
this guy's going here and that guy's going there. Bray Wyatt is back. And boy, there was a whole lot of news about somebody you and I know pretty well last week. What
Yeah.
the heck of all the news?
Well, first of all, I'm talking about Bray. I'm happy he's back. I think he's a extremely talented guy. I never understood why he was gone to begin with, but I'm glad he's back. I think he's very talented and like I said, one of the classiest guys you meet in the business. One of the class guys that you meet in the business today.